Kaylee, and today I'm doing the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 challenge. I saw Sarah at Sarah's Nightstand do this challenge last year, and I've had it on my list thinking, ooh, I should do that, and then I just never did it until now. This challenge was created by Amber at Books and Beaches, and I will leave a link to her channel and to Sarah's Nightstand in the description. Be sure to go over and subscribe to them. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. And of course, follow me over on Instagram and Goodreads and Storygraph and all the places. So the idea of this challenge is that you have to choose 5 of the first prompt, and then the next prompt you have to choose 4 of whatever it is, and then you choose 3 and 2, and the last one you choose 1. Now, when Sarah and Amber did this challenge, they just did it with whatever books they could think of. However, like I do a lot of the time with tag questions, I'm gonna make my answers be all classics. So all of my answers have to be classic authors, classic books. The first prompt is to choose 5 books that I loved. For this one, I'm gonna choose some books that I love, but that I don't talk about very often. I feel like I just kind of talk about the same 30 classics or something all the time. Jane Austen and Dickens and Little Women and Shakespeare, etc. And there are certain ones that, I don't know, they kind of fall through the cracks and I don't really tend to talk about them a lot. They just don't seem to come up very often in normal conversation. So here are 5 books that I just don't talk about enough, which I really love. First is Wives and Daughters by Elizabeth Gaskell. That one is so fun. Now, it always makes me sad that Elizabeth Gaskell died before she could finish it. It needed just like 5 more pages to be the ending. But you can tell the direction that it was going to go. And, you know, it's just like you only needed a few paragraphs to give it the ending. But it's still really, really wonderful. And it is satisfying because you obviously can tell what the end is going to be. The next one is Daniel Deronda by George Eliot. Daniel Deronda, this book gave me like a language to describe my personal journey to like find out who am I and what kind of person am I and where do I come from and how does that fit into my life now? The journey that Daniel goes on to discover his identity kind of gave me a context to understand those things in my own life. The next one is Captains Courageous by Rudyard Kipling. Captains Courageous introduced me to the adventure genre when I was a kid. It's just such a rollicking adventure. There is such great character development. I just love seafaring adventures, and that is because of Captains Courageous. Another seafaring adventure is Percival Keene by Captain Frederick Marryat. I just love Captain Marryat's books. They are so good. Every single one of them is full of battles and pirates and hurricanes and adventures and romance and mysteries and intrigue and spies. It is just chock full of exciting adventure, every single book. And Percival Keene is a really good one because the hero is trying to kind of figure out his personal identity as well. And the next one is a romance, Thelma by Marie Corelli. I feel like this book kind of took the romance genre and just blew it up into this bigger perspective for me. It's like I didn't know that romance novels could encompass so much. There are a lot of different settings and different relationships between different people, and that affects these people's relationship. It's just, the scope is just so large. It's not just confined to these 2 people and they fall in love and la la la. There's just so many strings, so many things that are affecting everyone else. Marie Corelli really knows how to spin a good yarn. The next prompt is to choose 4 auto-buy authors. Now, I'm not going to include authors that I already own all of their works. I already own all of Dickens and all of Jane Austen. I already have all of Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to include those. I'm going to include ones that if I saw this in a bookstore, I would go, ooh, I need that one because I don't have it yet on my shelves. So one auto-buy author is Anthony Trollope. I have been slowly over the years building my Anthony Trollope collection, and I have most of his most famous works, the ones that you typically see in bookstores. But the man wrote like 80 or 90 novels or something, and if I were to see one that I did not have yet, I would definitely grab it. The more I read of Anthony Trollope, the more I love Trollope. The other one is Sir Walter Scott. I do have a pretty good Scott collection down here, but the more I read of Scott, the more I want to read from Scott. And he was another very prolific author, and some of his lesser well-known works are difficult to find in print. I have a lot of his works on my Kindle, but I want to have those physical copies. And the next one is Fanny Burney. The only book I've read of Fanny Burney's is Cecilia, and I do own Evelina, and I want to read that soon. But I know she wrote other novels, I'm not sure how many, at least 4 or 5, I think. And so I want to buy those up as well. And the last one on my list is Grace S. Richmond. I've only read a couple of books from her. This is an author from the 1920s who writes romances, but there's always something else going on. And the romance kind of develops as a result of the other things that are going on. I really like her books because they're very deep, complex characters. So even though I've only read 2 of her books, Grace S. Richmond has become one of my new auto-buy authors. Prompt number 3 is 3 books that you can't stop talking about. I feel like I always end up talking about the same books. If you ask me, what's your favorite classic? It's David Copperfield. If you ask me your favorite children's book, it's Chronicles of Narnia. If you ask me your favorite fantasy, it's The Lord of the Rings. So there you go, 3 books that I just find myself constantly talking about because I love them and they're my favorites. Prompt number 2, 2 books that everyone should read. Well, first of all, I have to say the Bible. Everyone should read the Bible, even if you're not a Christian, even if you don't consider yourself to be very religious, you might be an atheist. I still think you should read the Bible. At least read the New Testament. Or at the very, very least, just read the Gospel of John. If you feel like, I'm not reading the whole Bible, I ain't doing all that. Just read the one little Gospel of John. It's like 40 pages or something. And you might find that it'll change your life. You might find that you find something to believe in. I guarantee if you just read the Gospel of John, it will change your life. And then the second book that I think everyone should read, I thought about this for a while, and I was just like, what do I choose? What do I choose? And I came up with Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I just feel like it's such a work of art. Like the more you read it, the more you realize how genius it is. Can't believe I'm putting the Bible and Jane Austen in the same category, but I am. Even if you don't like romance or you think it's outdated or like whatever it might be, give Pride and Prejudice a chance because it is wonderful. Or maybe you think, well, I've already seen the movie, so I already know all about it. I guarantee you will find something new in the book. And number 1 is one book that I'm excited to read. The first thing I thought of was George MacDonald because I've really been wanting to read more from George MacDonald. And on my TBR this year, I have The Curate's Awakening. I've read some of his Christian novels before, and I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood or I don't know, I wasn't quite in the right time in my life to appreciate them properly. But I feel like I really want to revisit those types of his novels. And I think I'll enjoy them a lot more now that I'm kind of more in the headspace for this type of novel. And there you have it. That is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 challenge. Please leave me a comment and let me know what would you have answered for these prompts. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and remember, the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world.